Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes, or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
Hi, this is Kyle Higgins, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Diggity dank.
Hello and welcome back to another week of the Nightwing News. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, it is...
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And today we'll be covering the first 7 issues of the... New 52 Nightwing. Oh, what was that? Oh. Is that all 30 of them?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is.
Yes, kids. So, we're covering the first 7 by Kyle Higgins. Yeah, I was like, what intro should I use? And I was like, wait a minute. It's Kyle. Come on. Who we actually talked to. Yes, kids, scroll down because we did talk to Kyle Higgins about his entire run, but let's go through some of these issues tonight. And then, of course, when next we reconvene for Nightwing News, we will have Nightwing 300. Well, Legacy numbering 300.
That's right.
113/300. Yes, and I think maybe a Titans issue, but yes, we will have Nightwing 300. Alrighty, so shall we jump in since we have 7?
Sure, yeah. I figured we'd only have time to talk about our favorite parts.
Oh, okay.
Or our least favorite parts.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, we can talk it as a whole. Yeah, we don't have to go issue by issue. Alright, so again, New 52, for those who don't know, I mean, some franchises got rebooted more than others. Like the two top bestsellers didn't really get much tweaking. Like the Green Lantern books were pretty hot, and of course anything having to do with
Batman, my favorite character,
didn't really get touched. And again, it's so weird because it's like, in the first issue when Dick's like, he mentions his time as Batman, which had just taken place before New 52. But meanwhile, they're like, oh yeah, the New 52 is a whole new thing. This universe is only like 5 years, these superheroes have been around for 5 years. Meanwhile, Bruce had every Robin. Dick had spent his time as Batman, and it's just like all of this in 5 years. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what they ultimately kind of abandoned in Rebirth, right?
Oh yeah, they've slowly wound back at least pretty much everything, but yeah. Oh, yeah. By the time we get to Rebirth, it's like, because they were trying to get the Watchmen stuff here. Like, Dr. Manhattan stole like 10 years of everyone's time or something. It's just, or 5 years something? But it's like, Dr. Manhattan stole a bunch of time. It's just like, okay. Yeah, they've pretty much rewound anything because they took away Clark Kent and Lois Lane's marriage. That's back. I think pretty much everything with Wonder Woman's back. The big one, I really hated. Wally West was like nowhere to be found. We brought back Wally.
Yeah. So. Well, and I mean, Donna was gone for a while too.
Yes,
right?
And Donna, yes, yeah. They kind of decimated that like era of Titans because it was like, there was no Wally, there was no Donna for a while. Cyborg was a founding member of the Justice League. It's like, really?
Well, and I
think they did that because the movie was coming up, probably.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily. Well, I mean, I didn't think it made as much sense. Roy being friends with Jason made more sense than Starfire being friends with Jason, but they did not portray Corey well at the beginning of the... Yeah. It was like yes, of course, Corey was always drawn very attractively, but that wasn't the essence of her character, and that wasn't what I would say the majority of people liked about her, and they basically were like, she's sexy, so they just turned her into sexy.
Oh, yeah, first issue of Red Hood and the Outlaw. She's like in a tiny bikini, yeah.
But they didn't give her a lot of personality either.
No. And again, it was so weird because that's when they started cleaning up Jason's image because before that, he came back from the dead. It was like, I'm going to mess with you all. I'm going to kill you all or whatever. And just all of a sudden he's the bad boy, the bad family again. I think the eclipse was for like another week or two.
Well, it's on the 8th, yes, so however many days.
I just see the cat coming in front of the camera.
Yep. And she's like, hey, you're paying attention to someone else. Yeah.
You say my name, Nightwing?
What is this? Okay. So, all right. Well, I guess.
So again, this opens up with Dick talking about his time as Batman, which again I felt that was kind of robbed us too, that we don't actually see the moment he goes back to being Nightwing, and why does he pick a red costume and all this? But no, it's just we jump in there. He's Nightwing again. He's in a red suit.
So the one thing that, since we read through the first 7, so it's been revealed by the end of 7 that this ties in with the Court of Owls, which was brought up earlier in the Batman books. So I think that is, remember near the end of Dick's time as Batman, he found that thumb drive, USB, whatever, in the Batcave. I do think that this is that's what was going to be on that USB drive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But then they just kind of had to change it up.
I think whoever came up with the idea, they're like, you know what, because that was already 2010 when that came up. I think it's either 2009 too. But I'm sure they probably knew the New 52 was coming, so they probably said, okay, you know what, this is a good idea. Put this on hold for a year, because if you do it now, it might get, kind of erased, once we reboot stuff. So just save it till we start New 52, and then, which I can see, I would bet that's what happened, because again, that's pretty much the first arc of Batman. Again, it's the first arc of Nightwing here, so.
I do think it would have been more powerful because obviously they had to change it up some. I do think it would have been more powerful if Dick had been Batman when he was uncovering it, because then it would have been more. And I think that's what the original idea was supposed to be. But then they had to kind of change it, because Bruce because he's Batman. He becomes such a big figure in it, but he doesn't have that personal connection the way they were trying to set up with Dick and Batman. Instead, Bruce is just like, oh, I can't believe there's something in my city that I didn't know about.
And how great would that have been if, say that was the final challenge Dick had faced as Batman, is the Court of Owls, and he saves Gotham somehow from a big, huge Court of Owls threat. And then Bruce comes back and it's like, oh, well, thank you for saving thank you for keeping Gotham safe while I was gone. And
would have been cool.
Oh yeah.
That being said, though, it makes me kind of sad. I definitely feel like this has been retconned away again, but it made me sad that Haly Circus was kind of retconned into being shady. That was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, Mr. Haly especially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, first when he was like, oh, I haven't been back to the circus since that night, and I was like, wait a minute, yeah, you have, Lonely Place of Dying, but then I think they kind of tried to tweak it where it's like, oh, this is the first time I've been back to Haly's when it's in Gotham. I'm like, okay.
Which, that might be true, because I did feel like even before New 52, although a lot of times Dick would go to other circuses.
Yes.
When it was Circuit in the past. So yeah, I don't know. It would have been interesting to see how it played out if we hadn't had the New 52, because I think I definitely would not have liked the retconning of Haly's Circus to be a bad place, but the fact that it happened in the New 52, you can blame it on the New 52 and be like, stupid New 52.
Exactly.
And then now it kind of feels like we're pretending that didn't happen.
Pretty much. Don't you think they could have even done that where it's like Mr. Haly or pretty much no one at the circus knew that was happening, behind the scenes? Because again, it's it's not even the Court of Owls killed his parents. It was still Tony Zuko, but it's just they tried to take advantage of that.
Right. I think that if I were going to do it, I would have made it that, I guess if you wanted to get that Grayson thing in and have William Cobb, I guess you could have made it that Cobb had Tony Zuko do it or something. Or you just could have been, well, because of course the other thing is, because it's in the New 52, they're very wishy-washy about the ages, but he's definitely older. If it had been, it could have been, Tony Zuko, we were looking for you and we couldn't find you because you weren't in the circus kind of thing or something.
Yeah, it seems weird to me. It's like, if the Court of Owls has this big interest in this circus, how could Tony Zuko pull this off? Don't you think he threatened and then but I thought the Court of Owls would have stopped him. But yeah, I agree with you. I didn't want the circus to be this evil place. So I don't know. They could have even went back further where it's William Cobb was Mary's descendant, and the Court of Owls would have swooped in and grabbed Dick. But then first they all went off with the circus, and then Bruce came in and took Dick away. So
yeah, that's true. That could have been cool.
And also not to jump to the end, but also giving us another excuse for Bruce to hit Dick again.
Why do they do that? I know. Yeah, that just reminded me again. So I know that some people, I've talked to some, have not been as enthusiastic about Tom Taylor's run as we have, because they, feel like Dick's not as competent because he's always relying on his friends and stuff like that. And maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't really read the comics worrying about competency in that regard, because that's not my favorite part. But going back and reading some of this stuff, I was like, so angsty and sad.
Yeah, no, Dick is the guy who has friends, and again, New 52 wasn't the best example, but again, at this point in New 52, they had kind of I don't know if his Titans even existed at that point, so.
I was saying that, okay, so these were not, maybe, these first ones were actually not, looking back on it and seeing that it's 12 years ago. It's maybe not as bad as I was at the time, but it did make me appreciate that, at least, because I know it's different in some of the Batman books right now, but at least in the Nightwing books right now, people aren't always mad at each other and stuff, which is nice. Because, of course, that was the other thing. In here, they mentioned that, because this, of course, is when Barbara first came back to being Batgirl, and that in an earlier issue of Batgirl, Dick was kind of like, oh, you sure you want to do this on your own? You okay? And she's got mad at him, and then there's kind of tension in the, I was so overdone.
Yeah, I know. But no, the whole thing with Bruce hitting him, it's that tooth came out that had the Court of Owls. I'm like, wouldn't a dentist or something have seen that?
Yeah, you would think. Yes. Unless he was inadvertently going to a Court of Owls dentist the whole time and he didn't know.
Evil dentists. And I'm glad we at least took 2 seconds to try to squeeze Alfred in here up to the last. He couldn't stay for the show, but he was there to wish him.
Well, no, that turned out to be a good thing, because then Dick didn't have to worry about saving Alfred.
That's true. But yeah, no, the whole thing with Bruce, I can almost excuse it, because again, as they kind of mentioned, and in the Batman book at the time, the Court of Owls had kidnapped him. They had him drugged and running around their little catacombs for a couple days.
Yeah, the labyrinth.
So, yeah, if they had played that up more, where it's Bruce is has gone days without sleep and he's hallucinating, maybe. But yeah, they're just if you're reading just this end of it, you're I don't know that Bruce is in any bad way. Just that, oh yeah, you've been gone for days.
Yep.
Oh yes, Mr. Haly leaving Dick the circus, but then he gets killed.
And so reading this one again also made me more annoyed than I was before at Raya. I was this lady, she's bugging me.
I know. Because it's the mysterious villain Seiko, we kind of see, what his motivation is for this whole revenge plot, but what's her, Well, I guess she felt scorned. She's you left us.
But the thing, so I was annoyed already that they're we gotta immediately put Dick in a relationship with another woman. But then you find out a couple issues in the whole time that Raya's actually been with Raymond the whole time. And you're like, oh, why were you even having sex with Dick then?
Oh, she's a honeypot. That's what.
Right, but
yeah,
it's like,
know.
Man, that's commitment to the role there.
Oh, that's like master spycraft there, yeah.
And I will admit, I was also rather annoyed. I mean, I liked the issue with Barbara. That was fine. But I was annoyed. That I hate when they do that Barbara shows up and Dick's with Raya, and so immediately it has to be awkward and it's like, ooh, weird sexual tension stuff. It's like, look, you and Barbara are not dating. I mean, at that point, they hadn't even dated in a while. I mean, since it was a new 52 and kind of a new slate, we don't even know if they ever dated.
Yeah, because they mentioned feelings, but I don't know if, he never mentioned like an actual relationship. And again, yeah, like you said, even if the stuff before New 52 counted, they hadn't been together since what, like 2007?
Yeah,
so it's been like 3 or 4 years. I know, but I guess they were just like, it's always there, that romantic whatever. It's just, okay.
I know, but I suppose that was part of the general problem of when they turned Barbara back into Batgirl in the early parts of the New 52.
Mm-hmm.
They really kind of de-aged her and made her less mature and stuff, because my preferred version of Barbara would not act weird just because her guy friend was hanging out with another female.
No, yeah, definitely not. But it's so weird. They try to like de-age everyone, and again with like Dick, it's so weird because they're like they want to de-age him, but it's like you have at least three Robins behind him, so it's like you can't make him too young because you got Jason, Tim, and Dick right behind him. So, yeah, they didn't really, they really didn't think their timeline out. I swear, with New 52. All right. Although that was pretty cool with pretty cool with this shapeshifter. How'd you know which one they hit? Barbara's like, I just went for the cuter one. Let's see, what else we got? And then it's like what was that, issue 3 or was it 2 or I think it might have been issue 3. He goes after that guy who they used to know, who was he, I don't think he was an assassin, but he was like the guy who hired some of the assassins, and it's like,
oh yeah, Zane. Yeah. So there's
unless that was just the red herring, they're like made you think he was going to go somewhere with that, but it really didn't go anywhere.
Well, I think it was supposed to be that there was kind of a little crew of them that were around the same age in the circus, and it was Dick and Zane and Raymond and Raya.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dick left because his parents died, and Raymond got taken to be a Talon, but then they didn't like him, so they kicked him out. And Zane became a villain.
Yeah.
I guess actually all of them became villains because Raya also became a villain.
Nobody normal came out of that circus, I guess.
No. That's why I said, so like, it's hard because it was interesting and it did suck, but it was also a very like emotionally impactful story about how Dick's friends from
there it is, YouTube.
There you go. About how Dick's friends from the circus betrayed him, but it also just was sad because he's been from the circus for, like 70 years at this point, and it's only now that the circus is bad. So, like, that was sad.
And again, it's, I guess it wasn't that, so, I'm trying to do math in my head now. So, how old do you think Dick is in this story? Because, again, if Batman's only been around for like 5 years, so Dick's parents died 5 years ago, so that would make him older when they died, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, they did do that because they did like that 0 issue or something.
Right, which they've definitely.
I'm trying to remember how old that New 52 said Dick was when he died. He was a little older.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was supposed to be like 16 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know it wasn't 9. I know that.
Basically, putting us into Chris O'Donnell territory.
That's so. I know it's so funny. He still looked like he was like 25 in that movie, and it's like, why does he need to live with this guy?
Yeah, that's why there's a lot going on in those movies.
Oh yeah. Again, you got to Gotta get well, if actors who aren't age appropriate, the ones who look age appropriate. Like
So yeah, I guess that's the hard thing about this kind of first arc is I do think the Court of Owls, they wanted Dick to be a Talon. That's cool. And Dick being his speech to Bruce about, it doesn't matter what they wanted me to be because I'm who I am, and that's that stuff is cool. But just because of the long history, the story is well done and well written with the betrayal and the leading up to it. It just makes me sad because it's not what I wanted. I didn't want the circus to be bad.
Yeah, that was supposed to be his pure his pure innocent origin, Right. Yeah, I get it.
So that was kind of the bummer about it. It's it is well done, but but if this was a story that wasn't about characters that had a long backstory that I already cared about, I'd like it more.
Yeah,
if this was just some new person, I'd be like, oh wow, that's a cool backstory.
If it was brand new, yeah, you didn't know these characters before, yeah.
It's well done, it's well written, but it isn't what I wanted.
I know, and I kind of feel bad for Cal, where it's I'm sure he was under orders. It's yeah, do something different. This can't just be the same. Everything's the same, and so. But again, it's so weird for all of them because again, I don't think his Titans team had happened at this point. Although, what I did like that I think that this arc got rid of too soon is just him traveling with the circus, so he's in a different city almost every issue. Yeah,
and he could experience different people and stuff.
Yeah, or even different villains. Yeah, just. Again, it's something different. It's instead of being in one city, for a year or two, maybe just have them traveling from town to town. Like in issue 6 when it opens up in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, with Shock.
With the X.
Shock with an X.
His spelling, not mine. Yeah.
Shucks.
Yeah, but then Raya, I mean, she by issue 6, she seems like she's feeling bad about, helping with this plot against Dick. And I'm like, you didn't realize what you were doing, what this whole thing was going to entail, especially when they're like, oh, we're going to put on a tribute to your parents, a tribute show. And it's just really?
Right. Well, and I mean, Dick immediately realizes
Mm-hmm.
it. He's like, oh, this is when the guy's going to act. This is when Psycho is going to come and try to take me out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're also Raya comes on really strong to Dick from the beginning, but then after Barbara shows up, she is kind of drawing away.
She stands off, yeah.
And I think Dick's, up till the end seems to think oh, is that because Barbara showed up? But maybe it's her using Barbara showing up as a way to distance herself before the big stuff goes down.
Well, I think it really hit her too when Barbara said, "Oh, you make him really happy." Because before that, she was like, "Oh no, this isn't serious. Let's just take it as it goes." And
falling for her and wants it to be more serious. But it turns out Dick is the other man. Dick is a homewrecker.
It's not his fault. But I love those two guys at the circus. They're like, they see Barbara walk in, and another redhead. They're like, oh, he definitely has a type.
That felt like a joke for the fans.
I know. That was a cute little joke.
Those guys didn't even know about Starfire. Or maybe they did, I don't know.
But I was going to say, I don't know, I mean, just going back to the circus, but I guess it makes sense, because again, this is the first arc in the New 52, so it's kind of a way to get Dick's origin without, going all into it.
Yep. Yeah. For new people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and since he was older, you can see they're kind of leaning on his parents' outfits are more Nightwing-esque outfits.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Which I think they've also kind of rolled back. It's funny, though, because the outfits the parents are wearing are very Disco Wing, yet they put him in the red. So it's like...
Well, I don't think they're saying he never wore that costume. Well, I don't know about the disco at this point, but he wore blue before this, but yeah.
No, I know. Oh, right. I don't know. It's just funny.
I know.
That they're real, because in the past, his parents were always in the red and green and yellow, and that's partially why. And then now they're putting the parents in the blue, but they're like, oh, but he's wearing red.
Yeah.
It's like, this is backwards. Also, Alfred wearing such casual clothes threw me for a loop.
I know.
Alfred just in a polo? What?
Maybe it's
I didn't even know he owned such a thing.
Maybe it's on one of his very rare days off.
Well, Bruce is missing, so he can take some time off.
Exactly. But again, that's so weird too, because like, I know we have something else going on here, but it's almost like, oh yeah, Master Bruce is missing, but meanwhile we don't see Dick looking for him or Barbara looking for him or any of the Robins. I don't think so. It's like,
right. Well, I mean, that has always, unfortunately, been one of the problems. I mean, it's a major problem in all superhero stuff. You know the meme where they're like,
oh yeah,
where they're like, Captain Marvel in a Captain Marvel movie, beating people up. Captain Marvel in an Avengers movie, beating people up. Captain Marvel in a Spider-Man movie, gone, missing, not doing anything. It's the same kind of thing in the comics. Is when they want to have it be a big crossover. Oh yeah, then suddenly everybody is all ready and able to help each other out. Yeah. But when they don't want it to be, then it's like, oh wait, you had a family? I totally forgot. Like the whole stupid Rick Grayson thing. Ugh. Why? Like, and then they were like, oh yeah, we were watching from a distance. Okay, but it's like the guy obviously has major medical trauma, and you're like, we're just gonna turn him loose to live in his cab. Okay.
Well, I know, and again, it's different writers and everything, but it's like, yeah, just recently, when Bruce, puts the, where Jason feels fear now more, but it's like, oh, you can't give Dick his memories back, or try to jog his memory at all. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, and they would do it before. I mean, when Blockbuster was ruining Dick's life, like, why was it that Dick was sleeping on the streets after his apartment got blown up? What, like, you don't know anybody in the next town over that could maybe help you out?
I know.
I know that Blockbuster ruined your relationship with Barbara, but that's like not the only person you know in the whole world.
Well, again, with Blockbuster too. I mean, Dick was just, he was it was like a middle of a nervous breakdown, and it's just like, oh, I let Blockbuster die. Remember, because Bruce had to get in his face and be like, it's not your fault. Just because you did not throw yourself in the path of a bullet.
But it's also like, this isn't the 1940s anymore. I mean, granted, that happened in the early 2000s, so it was before we all had cell phones and stuff. But it was like, we still had TV news, and I'm pretty sure on the news it would have been like, apartment block in Bloodhaven blows up. Like, I think even in Bloodhaven, that would be news.
Well, again, yeah, that was, what was I was going to say? No, I was going to say, was that the 90s? That might have been early 2000s. But I was going to say, that's what they say. It's like, yeah, every problem on Seinfeld, it would be no problem these days because cell phones now.
True, but like I said, you'd still have news.
Yeah, but again, it's like, depending what the writer wants, it's either like, my partner, my sidekick's in trouble, or my partner's in trouble, or but if you don't want someone else to show up, it's like, they're capable, they can handle it themselves.
Right? Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was trying to say, just in a very long-winded way. It's never consistent. So that's the same thing with Bruce. It's like, we have to have other people doing other things. We can't have them be helping Batman. So everybody's just like, oh, snap, Bruce has been missing a couple days? Oh, well.
I know, but I guess in any story, too, you can be like, well, Batman's missing. Well, do you think Batman wants us to help him? Or is he going to be like, no, you're interfering. I had him right where I want him.
I mean, yes, I suppose that works with Batman. It doesn't work as well with any other superhero
Yeah, no,
character.
I was going to say, that's more a Batman thing than anything, yeah.
But whatever. It's fine. And then Psycho comes in, trying to destroy the circus.
Oh, yeah, basically it starts burning with, was that magnesium or whatever?
Yeah. Well, he's so rude. You're supposed to be the fiercest killer. Nobody said anything about the greatest detective. It's like, you were supposed to be dead. Why would I assume that you were a dead person?
Exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. I took the circus and everyone who works there at their word because they're supposed to be my family,
Well, and I would figure that most of the people in the circus also thought he was dead.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, because I think like they were saying, I think they just said that Mr. Haly, who owned the circus, was the one who was pretty much. I don't know if he sold him to the Court of Owls or just gave him, because they faked a car accident where the car went in the river. Because that's what the circus really is, Dick. A place that destroys children, turns them into killers. Except they didn't think I was good enough. Yeah, so that's the other thing. The Court of Owls, they're like, yeah, you're no Dick Grayson. So they left me in a forest to die with birds clawing at my eyes. So yeah, Dick drops the big scoreboard. The 100-ton scoreboard. So it makes a big hole in the floor. So all the sand below can put out the magnesium fire.
Very smart.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then of course, Psycho was telling him, doing the whole, it was all me. The whispers in the old man Haly's ear to give you the circus. The whispers into yours to take it. Ryan and I are in this together. I'm willing to do whatever it takes for this to finally end. But at least because, he had all the stadium doors locked, so all the innocent people were going to burn to death, but at least she comes to her senses and lets all the people out.
Yeah, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would have been really messed up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hindsight and everything, but I don't know. It just seems like it takes Dick a little too long to come to the conclusion because, Psycho has to tell him, no, they didn't want me. They wanted you. But, your parents died and you ran away with a billionaire.
Uh-huh. Well, I suppose... they still haven't mentioned the name, the Court of Owls, so I suppose it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't know it, because the Court of Owls is, at this point, it's supposed to be a Gotham thing. And
I know. But
Gotham.
But he had already found the book, right, with his name in it. I'm like, shouldn't you have been like...
Yeah, but the book didn't say Court of Owls
I know. And I'm not saying he should know the name Court of Owls, but whatever conspiracy group this was that, took this kid, they maybe should have been like, maybe it was going to be me. I just, again, I just went, detective work.
I think it would get there, but it's much easier.
Yeah. And again,
and better for the readers for them to explain it to us during a fight.
Yeah. And again, the art, I think the next arc in all the bad books after this is the Court of Owls stuff. So, because
I think it's better to have Psycho explain it, because it sort of helps you understand why he's the villain. I'll be real, it still seems pretty weak. He's like, they took me instead, so it's your fault. Like, nope, pretty sure it's the fault of the other people.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think it matters for the character. It makes more sense. It's better, not just for the reader, but it's better for establishing Psycho as a character to do it that way, instead of Dick being like, I sat down and I thought about it, and that must be why he's so mad at me.
Yeah, no, I just took it as, Psycho is, Psycho, because, again, he was tortured for how many years, and, not even...
Right, and because you understand him being mad, but it really doesn't make sense that he is taking all of this anger out on Dick, because Dick actually had nothing to do with him.
No.
Being tortured like that. He's 100% taking his anger out on the wrong person. He's really taking his anger out on the only person that is available for him to take his anger out on.
Yeah. And again, he's another Raya, where he's just like, none of this would have happened if you hadn't have left, and
right. Which again is like, okay, but then I'd be a creepy murderer.
I know. Well, I think a lot of them were just resentful, because it's like, yeah, your parents died, but then you got to leave and live in the lap of luxury, as far as they knew.
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing that's kind of disappointing. Not in the story. Again, just disappointing because it's a character that we've already grown to know and love, and we already know about the circus. But it's like, his circus friends are not good friends, and they're not.
No, again, yeah,
they're not nice people. His friends are like, your parents died, and so you had to go into the foster system. But think about how that impacted me. Like, okay, yeah, because my parents are the ones who died. Not to say that, of course, other people. Obviously, the Grayson's death affected a lot of people, but it's like, clearly, you guys are not the best friends when you're like your parents' death was really devastating for me. Oh, really?
I know. I think, well, at least in one of those flashbacks that we see, then Raya, at least it was hinted at, either she was either in love with him or had a huge crush on him or something, so.
Right, yeah, which that's kind of the other thing, is it's like, oh, okay, so you're here, like...
You didn't love me, you will die.
Right, like blaming Dick for leaving and then Raymond, but it's like, I mean, okay, I guess she would have ended up with Raymond and he wouldn't have been creepy because Dick would have gone off and been creepy instead. But yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, she doesn't really have a good, like I said, it just shows they're not good people. Because, I mean, at least Raymond, like, I was tortured by the Court of Owls, so I'm mad. It's like, okay, that makes sense.
I can say he's
Raya's
mentally unbalanced.
Raya's like,
yeah.
Sorry, what, Phil?
I was going to say, yeah, with Raymond, you can at least say, I was tortured, he's mentally unstable, yeah.
Right, and I mean, and he does have a bone to pick. Like I said, he's just picking it with the wrong person, because obviously, but Dick is really the only person he can take his anger out on, because, like, how's he going to take it out on the Court of Owls? He's not good enough. He's not skilled enough. That's why they kicked him out. But Raya, it's like, okay, you're doing all of this just because your boyfriend is mad. Which, like, okay, I mean, I guess you love him, but you don't really have a great reason to do that. You're mostly doing it for your boyfriend, but then your other reason is like, yeah, I'm mad that you left. But it's not even like he left. I mean, his parents died and he was taken away by the state. That's not like, I left.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. That's why I said, it's good, it makes sense, and it's a well-written story, and I would like it better if it was a new character or someone I didn't already know, but it just makes me sad because the circus used to be so awesome and used to be Dick's happy place, and now with this, you're like, oh, this is a cool new wrinkle, but it makes the circus and everyone in it huge jerks, and so now it's not a fun happy place anymore. Now it's a den of iniquity.
Exactly. I mean, again, maybe it's just something in the water, because again, you know, there's always people like this in Gotham, it seems like.
Right. That was kind of the one thing that not the one thing, he got the new suit, but that was one of the things I really liked about that miniseries where Nightwing gets his new suit by Denny O'Neil, the miniseries before his ongoing, was he gets this clue like, oh, is there something going on here? And he goes and solves a mystery, but it turns out the mystery is only tangentially related to his parents' murder, and in fact, it's just like, oh yeah, they met this guy once, it had nothing to do. And I thought that was cool, and a cool subversion of what normally happens, which is normally everything becomes more complicated, a la Haly Circus becomes a breeding ground of assassins instead of just
evil
a
factory.
circus.
Yeah. I know. But I'm just like, I'm glad they didn't change the Zuko, that like, oh, Zuko wasn't working for the Court of Owls or something, and I was just waiting for that. I'm like, but luckily they didn't do that.
Right.
But also in the first issue, I think here, I think Kyle or someone at DC's already thinking about bringing Zuko back. Because remember, in Lonely Place of Dying, Zuko gets killed, but I think here's the point where they're like, oh yeah, we can have Tony Zuko alive again, especially since it's New 52, because when he mentions that night, he says, oh yeah, Zuko is the one who cut the wires and stuff, but he doesn't say anything about, him being dead at that point, so.
Yeah, well, I think it was year 3. There's the year 3 flashbacks,
right
and then there's,
because
Zuko, Zuko was in prison.
Yeah, but then remember, as soon as he gets out of prison, he gets like gunned down, yeah.
But yeah, again, that's something they've been slippery with, because then we read that Robin Annual 4 that was a retelling of Dick's, and Zuko has a heart attack and dies, so it's like... Yeah. Tony Zuko is another thing that is very much up in the air. Just like Joe Chill. Was it Joe Chill?
And again, that was like, oh God, what was that like 88 or 89? So, I mean, there have been so many crises and so many reboots since that, Because again, it seems like every time they have a crisis, it changes. It's like, oh, the killer of the Waynes was Joe Chill, or, oh, Bruce never found out who it is. And, it seems like it's flip-flops back and forth after every crisis.
All right, then the thing. So... that's what I said. This is something that made me really reminding me how much I like what's going on now, which is, when Dick goes down to the cave, he and Bruce immediately start getting mad at each other. Even before Bruce hits him, they're already like,
Well, and again, too, like I said, Bruce has been tortured and drugged and stuff, and up for how long? And again, I guess when you think about it, I mean, Dick's maybe gone through one of the worst days of his life, so probably the worst betrayal of his life. So I guess I don't know. Again, I guess it's just, these two are just both at the end of the rope at this point.
Right. But, I mean, yeah, they're also...
But yeah, it's like...
they're definitely not...
Yeah. But again, we're 7 months... We're not even a full year in the New 52, and we're already getting the Batman backhand. Instead of, hey, Dick, come here. And, just going in and, like, extracting that tooth in a less painful way.
Right, because Dick actually does have information that will prove useful to Bruce. Although Bruce kind of must already... Well, I guess Bruce knows because he has Kyle.
Yeah, because he said, this...
It's like, guys, if you talked, you wouldn't have these problems.
Well, Dick says, you do this whole thing so you don't have to feel a damn human emotion. You might be seeing sides already, all of us. Birds on one and you, the bat on the other. Like Dick says, he's like, I don't care what side my ancestor was on. Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce must have learned that because Bruce is the one that's like, Haly's trained the talents, because Dick didn't know that yet. He just had the book.
Yeah, because like I said, that's pretty...
Well, no, I mean, Dick knew that because Mace told him.
Yeah, but I mean, that's pretty much New 52 from like issue 1. That's what they were doing with that. Batman is Court of Owls, so and that's like where they introduced him as the... but then they also put in that other thing at the end that's going to come up in a few issues where, it's like, Commissioner Gordon provided these pictures, and somebody, they did that where someone was killed with one of his, or it looks like one of his Eskrima sticks. Yeah,
that was in one of the... Was it earlier that issue or earlier?
It's one of these issues, I forget, but it's only like 2 pages or something, It's only like a page or two.
Yeah, you just see...
Yeah, because they do the Court of Owls crossover, and then I think that's the next thing with like who's framing them.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. So, yes, kids, you're always free to send your thoughts on these issues. But again, when next we meet after a few weeks of Electric Mullet, we'll be back. When we return, yes, we'll have new issues. We'll Titans issue 10 and Nightwing 113, which is legacy numbering 300. So we'll see what Tom Taylor and Marv Wolfman have for us. Because it said that, Marv Wolfman has something in there. I saw him credited. And then, I know Kristen wants to know, what are we doing for the second week for another classic review? All right. We're going to do 2006's Outsiders 34 through 37. That's that arc. That's that arc immediately after Infinite Crisis, where it originally was going to be probably Jason as Nightwing. So.
Oh God, Phil! Why you make me read this?
Whoa! Have you read it before?
Yeah, is this the one where he's mean to Superman?
Yeah, I mean, I can switch it up if you want, because I was going to say...
it's fine.
I was going to say, we could switch it up. I was just going to say, okay, let's see where that was supposed to be Jason. I can switch it up.
It's all right. If you want to read it and talk about it, we'll do it.
I'll let you know. Kristen likes happier stories. All right, kids. So send us your thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, including new merchandise, because we have some new logos. So, yes, go get your t-shirts, your phone cases, everything with the new logos, one of which is in the right corner above Kristen's head. Other side, yeah.
I can't do it right.
Yeah, it's like a mirror. You're pointing to the other side. Yeah.
There we go.
That's right. So get that snazzy merch, and of course, you just drop random money on us through the Cash App link, and of course the Patreon, where Wolf and I try to give you something a little bit different every month. So find it all in one place. That's tubespace.ao/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.ao/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. All right. And for those of you, I see we have a couple live views all right. So for those of you who may be new, may not know, not only is this Kristen a super fan of Nightwing, but she put together a book all about Dick Grayson. So interviewed many people, and got him to add some stuff. So again, if you are fans of Dick Grayson or Nightwing or Robin, get this book, Dick Grayson, Boy Wonder. You can find it on Amazon because I guarantee you'll learn something, at least one thing new from this book. So Dick Grayson, Boy Wonder.
Because what can't you find on Amazon?
Exactly. And half of it's probably not good for you, kids, but this is good for you. This is knowledge. This is reading.
It's power.
And knowing is half the battle. All right, kids. Yes, go pick that up.
Thank you, Adam. That feels like Adam was Batman.
That was G.I. Joe.
Yeah, but doesn't that also feel like something Adam West Batman would
definitely.
Say? Because citizen education is
citizen. I was going to say that's right, old chum. Because knowledge is power, and knowing is half the battle.
That's right. Education is its own reward.
I may be rich, but the richest, but the most thing of most value is knowledge. All right.
I may be rich, but I'm most wealthy in knowledge.
I'm most wealthy in knowledge and shark repellents. All right.
You can never have too much of that.
All right, kids. When we return in a few weeks, like I said, Nightwing 113, Legacy 300, and Titans 10. And then that week after, I'm going to change it up because I can tell Kristen is sad. No, I'm changing it up. Now, even I'm like,
check this out. This book has a hidden identity. See, this is the slipcover.
Oh, is there a different? Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah, nice. So you get a bunch of different covers. All right, kids, join us next time. Join us same week time.
Same week channel.
Nightly News. Be nice to your friends so they don't hold a years-long vendetta grudge against you.
Yeah, for real.